Have you ever stopped, truly stopped, to think about all the little things society conditions us to care about? The trivial obsessions, the hollow trends, the meaningless benchmarks of status that, when stripped down, hold no real weight in a life of purpose? Most people never question these expectations. They absorb them, internalize them, and waste precious energy chasing validation through rituals they don't even enjoy. But there's a rare breed of men who see through the illusion, sigma males. Unlike the loud dominance of alphas or the eager-to-please compliance of betas, sigmas operate on a different frequency. They're the outliers, the quiet observers who dissect societal norms with a razor-sharp awareness. While others mindlessly conform, sigma males ask the dangerous question, why? Their independence isn't rebellion for its own sake, it's a deliberate rejection of performative living. They refuse to feign interest in shallow trends, fake enthusiasm for hollow small talk, or trade their authenticity for fleeting social approval. Where most men seek belonging in the herd, sigma males find strength in solitude. Where others crave external validation, sigmas derive confidence from an unshakable inner code. This isn't about arrogance or detachment, it's about conscious selectivity. Sigma males conserve their attention, energy, and time for what actually matters: mastery, purpose, and genuine connection. They're the men who walk through life with a quiet intensity, unbothered by the noise of societal expectations because they've decoded the truth. Most of what people chase is a distraction from true freedom. So, what exactly are these fabricated obsessions that consume the average person, but leave sigma males utterly indifferent? What societal traps do they sidestep while others waste years chasing illusions? In this video, we'll expose 8 artificial obsessions that dominate modern culture, things everyone else cares about, except sigma males. Number 1, knowing the score of last night's game. Society operates on unspoken scripts, and one of the loudest is the assumption that real men must be sports fanatics. From bars to boardrooms, the question hangs in the air like a test of masculinity: did you catch the game last night? For most men, admitting disinterest is social heresy. So they nod along, regurgitating talking points from ESPN, feigning investment in rivalries they don't care about, all to avoid the raised eyebrows of, "Wait, you don't follow sports?" But sigma males reject this charade. It's not that they despise athletics, many appreciate the strategy of chessboxing or the discipline of martial arts. What repels them is the performative obsession, the way society demands men treat sports as a tribal identity. The sigma sees the absurdity: grown men painting their faces in team colors, mortgaging their savings for season tickets, or losing sleep over athletes who'll never know they exist. Worse, he notices how corporations exploit this frenzy, selling overpriced jerseys and beer ads wrapped in faux camaraderie. Picture the corporate drone who spends his Monday morning scrolling stats to fabricate watercolor banter. He doesn't care who won, he cares about appearing normal. The sigma finds this tragic. Why waste hours memorizing draft picks just to mimic passion? Why let a game you've never played dictate your mood, your conversations, your self-worth? For the sigma male, sports are a case study in manufactured investment. He recognizes the dopamine hits of fandom, the fleeting highs of a last-minute touchdown, the hollow catharsis of yelling at a screen, are designed to keep men distracted. While others live vicariously through athletes, the sigma channels that energy into his own pursuits. He'd rather train his body, build his empire, or dissect a book than scream at strangers running with a ball. This isn't elitism, it's selective engagement. The sigma male measures value not by crowd consensus, but by tangible returns. If a hobby doesn't enrich his mind, body, or purpose, it's noise. And in a world drowning in noise, his indifference isn't apathy, it's sovereignty. Number 2, their own birthday. Birthdays are psychological theater. Society assigns magical weight to the day you exited a womb, as if Earth completing another orbit around the sun warrants confetti, gifts, and performative gratitude. For most, it's a ritual of externalized validation. The more Instagram stories you're tagged in, the more appreciated you're supposed to feel. Sigma males see through the pantomime. They grasp the uncomfortable truth: no one actually cares about your birthday. The coworkers singing off-key in the break room? They're relieved HR didn't assign them to plan the party. The cousin who texts, "Happy birthday," after 3 years of silence? They're ticking a social obligation. Even loved ones often gift what they think you should want, not what resonates with you. The entire spectacle is a collective hallucination, a way for people to feel nice without genuine connection. So the sigma male opts out. No staged cake photos. No fishing for LinkedIn endorsements disguised as birthday wishes. No tolerating drunk uncles at a dinner he didn't want. Instead, he treats the day with purposeful indifference, or better, as a private checkpoint. While others measure their worth by the crowd at their party, the sigma measures his by growth, Did I become stronger, wiser, or more disciplined this year? Alignment. Am I living by my own code, or someone else's script? Legacy. What did I build that will outlast me? This isn't self-loathing, it's radical self-honesty. The Sigma knows real milestones aren't calendrical. Breakthroughs, transformations, and hard-won lessons rarely sync with a birthday. Why outsource your joy to a date on a calendar when freedom lies in defining your own metrics? And so, when his birthday passes like any other Wednesday, the Sigma isn't lonely, he's liberated. While others chase the high of forced celebration, he reserves his energy for moments that actually matter. Number 3, impressing others with material possessions. Modern society operates like a giant stage where people perform their worth through possessions. Luxury cars gleam in driveways like trophies, designer logos scream status from chest pockets, and wristwatches cost more than most people's annual salaries, all to signal, look how successful I am. But Sigma males see this for what it truly is, a desperate plea for validation from strangers who don't matter. The irony is staggering. A man will lease a $100,000 sports car he can't afford, just to bask in the fleeting glances of pedestrians who forget him before the next traffic light. He'll wear a Rolex not because he values craftsmanship, but because he hopes it'll make the bartender serve him faster. He'll drown in credit card debt for designer clothes, not because they fit better, but because he fears being judged for wearing last season's style. Sigma males find this entire charade laughably tragic. They understand the harsh truth: no one cares about your possessions as much as you think they do. That guy who glanced at your Mercedes? He's already forgotten you. The woman who noticed your Gucci shoes? She's more concerned about her own life. The Instagram followers double-tapping your humble flex a photo? They're just waiting for their turn to post theirs. For the Sigma male, material goods serve only two purposes. Utility: does it make his life easier, more efficient, or more enjoyable in a tangible way? Authentic appreciation: does he genuinely love the craftsmanship, history, or function of the item, not just its logo? He might drive a modest but reliable car because it gets him where he needs to go, not because it screams midlife crisis at stoplights. He'll wear a durable, well-made watch because he respects precision engineering, not because he's trying to impress his coworkers. If he invests in something expensive, it's because he values it, not because society told him he should. Most men chase external validation like addicts chasing a high, only to find it's a bottomless pit. The Sigma male, however, measures success internally, by his peace, his freedom, and his growth. He knows real power isn't in what you own, but in what you don't need to prove. Number 4, arguing over politics. Politics has become the modern-day Colosseum, a blood sport where people clash not to find truth, but to dominate. Social media, news networks, and dinner tables have turned into battlegrounds where opinions are treated like religions, and dissenters are branded heretics. Most people engage in these wars reflexively, addicted to the adrenaline of argument, the rush of owning an opponent. Sigma males? They walk away. It's not that they lack convictions. They may have well-researched, deeply held beliefs. But they recognize a fundamental truth: 99% of political debates are performative. They're not about exchanging ideas, they're about ego, tribal loyalty, and the desperate need to be right. Think about it. How many minds have you actually changed in a Facebook argument? Has screaming at your uncle about taxes ever made him say, you know what? You're right? Do political Twitter rants ever lead to solutions, or just more division? Sigma males see the game for what it is: a distraction. The more people are busy fighting each other, the less they question the real power structures keeping them enslaved. While others rage over left versus right, the Sigma focuses on what he can control: his life, his mindset, his freedom. This isn't apathy. It's strategic disengagement. Sigma males conserve their energy for battles that matter. They'll educate themselves, vote if they choose to, and support causes they believe in, but they refuse to be dragged into circus debates designed to keep people angry and divided. They'd rather read a book than scream at a talking head on TV. Build their business than waste hours in comment section wars. Cultivate real influence rather than chase the hollow victory of winning an argument. At the end of the day, politics, for most, is just another form of social signaling, a way to declare, look how morally superior I am. The Sigma male doesn't need that validation. He knows true strength isn't in loud arguments, but in quiet, unshakable resolve. While others exhaust themselves in endless debates, the Sigma is busy living, free from the noise, focused on what truly matters. Number 5, the Sigma male's radical reconfiguration of family ties. The Sigma male's approach to family constitutes one of his most revolutionary breaks from societal conditioning, a complete redefinition of what kinship truly means. Where conventional wisdom preaches unconditional family loyalty, the Sigma operates from a more nuanced, experience-hardened philosophy. Blood may connect, but behavior determines true bonds. His stance isn't born from callousness, but from the sober realization that many family systems operate as emotional minefields disguised as safe harbors. For the Sigma, self-reliance isn't a preference, it's often a survival mechanism forged through repeated betrayals. The very people society says should love him unconditionally, parents who weaponized affection, siblings who competed rather than supported, relatives who demanded loyalty while offering none in return, became his most painful teachers. Where others might make excuses or tolerate dysfunction out of obligation, the Sigma male conducts a ruthless cost-benefit analysis. Does this relationship nourish or deplete me? His willingness to walk away from toxic family ties stems not from emotional deficiency, but from an overabundance of self-respect. Society's condemnation of this stance reveals its hypocrisy. The same culture that celebrates cutting toxic people from your life suddenly becomes conservative when those people share your last name. The Sigma recognizes this double standard for what it is, a control mechanism to maintain traditional power structures. He observes how manipulation masquerades as concern. We're only critical because we care. Control disguises itself as protection. You can't move that far away. Emotional blackmail replaces authentic connection. After all we've done for you. His solution is both radical and simple. He applies the same standards to family that he does to all relationships. If a friend constantly undermined his ambitions, betrayed his trust, or drained his energy, he'd distance himself without hesitation. The Sigma refuses to make special exceptions simply because of genetic happenstance. This isn't rejection of family, it's demotion of biology from its artificially privileged position in human connection. The Sigma's chosen family often becomes his greatest strength, a hand-picked tribe of mentors, brothers in arms, and kindred spirits who've proven their worth through action. These relationships follow natural hierarchies of respect and reciprocity rather than forced obligations. In this carefully curated inner circle, support is given freely, not leveraged as future guilt. Honest criticism comes from genuine investment in his growth. Time together is mutually enriching rather than emotionally taxing. What outsiders mistake for cold detachment is actually strategic emotional conservation. The Sigma understands that every minute spent managing dysfunctional family relationships is a minute stolen from building his legacy. His so-called lack of family loyalty often produces paradoxical results. By refusing to participate in generational dysfunction, he becomes the healthiest version of himself, capable of breaking cycles that have persisted for decades. Ultimately, the Sigma male's approach to family ties represents a quiet revolution, one man's refusal to let accident of birth dictate the quality of his life. His solitude isn't the loneliness of the abandoned, but the deliberate peace of the self-liberated. In a world that conflates obligation with love, his ability to distinguish between the two may be his most subversive act of all. Number 6. Remembering unnecessary dates. In an era where people's phones buzz with constant reminders for every trivial occasion, the Sigma male stands apart with his radical disregard for meaningless dates. While others stress over forgetting an acquaintance's birthday or the anniversary of some inconsequential event, the Sigma male has made a conscious decision. His mental real estate is too valuable to waste on calendar trivia. This isn't about being antisocial or lacking sentimentality. It's about understanding the psychological cost of these seemingly small obligations. Each happy birthday typed out of obligation, each anniversary post made for appearances, each reminder set for someone else's arbitrary milestone, they all chip away at a man's focus. The Sigma male recognizes these as subtle forms of social taxation, tiny pieces of his attention and energy being siphoned off to maintain appearances rather than actual relationships. Where most people fear being seen as rude or uncaring for forgetting these dates, the Sigma male operates from a different calculus. He knows that genuine relationships aren't maintained through perfunctory calendar alerts, but through meaningful interactions when they naturally occur. The people who matter in his life understand this. They don't keep score based on who remembered what date, but on who shows up when it truly counts. This approach allows the Sigma male to dedicate his cognitive resources to what actually moves his life forward. While others clutter their minds with reminders for their barber's work anniversary or their third cousin's baby shower, the Sigma male is free to focus on mastering skills, building his empire, or engaging in deep philosophical thought. He understands that most of these social date-keeping rituals are just performance, ways for people to signal that they're thoughtful without actually having to be present or engaged in any meaningful way. The Sigma male's refusal to participate in this system isn't negligence, it's a deliberate optimization of his mental bandwidth. In a world drowning in trivial obligations, his ability to ignore the noise and focus on substance isn't just efficient, it's a form of rebellion against the empty social rituals that distract most men from what truly matters. Number 7. The prison of group travel, a Sigma male's declaration of independence. For the Sigma male, group travel represents everything wrong with modern socialization, a carefully constructed illusion of freedom that ultimately reinforces conformity. Where others see bonding opportunities, the Sigma recognizes an elaborate exercise in compromise and emotional labor. The typical group vacation follows a predictable pattern: endless debates over restaurants that satisfy no one, activities chosen by committee rather than genuine interest, and the subtle tension of people who would never choose each other's company in daily life pretending to enjoy constant togetherness. The psychology behind this phenomenon reveals its fundamental flaws. Group trips operate on the false premise that collections of acquaintances naturally share the same travel preferences. In reality, they create a lowest common denominator experience where no one's true desires are fully met. The food enthusiast begrudgingly eats at chain restaurants to accommodate picky eaters. The adventurer sacrifices hiking trips for spa days. The intellectual skips museums to pose for group photos. Everyone compromises, yet no one leaves truly satisfied. What's never openly discussed are the hidden costs of this forced socialization. Consider the actual price paid: hours wasted debating itineraries, money spent on uninteresting activities, mental energy expended maintaining artificial harmony. The Sigma male recognizes this as psychological taxation, where each fake smile and feigned interest withdraws from his limited reserves of authentic engagement. His solution is radical in its simplicity: solitary travel governed entirely by his own rhythms. Without the burden of group dynamics, he experiences destinations with unparalleled depth. He eats when hungry, sleeps when tired, and changes plans on a whim, no justifications required. This isn't mere tourism, but true cultural immersion. While group travelers return with identical photos and superficial stories, the Sigma collects transformative experiences that reshape his worldview. The Sigma's solitude isn't loneliness, it's sovereignty. In foreign cities where no one knows his name, he discovers something more valuable than companionship: complete freedom from social expectations. He doesn't just visit places, he temporarily lives in them, adopting local customs and perspectives that group tourists never encounter. These solitary journeys become crucibles for self-discovery, yielding not tacky souvenirs, but expanded consciousness and sharpened instincts. Number 8. The illusion of social judgment, a Sigma's emancipation proclamation. Most people exist in an invisible prison of perceived judgment, constantly modifying their behavior based on imagined scrutiny. The Sigma male shatters these mental bars with a profound realization: nobody thinks about you nearly as much as you fear. What masquerades as social judgment is usually just projection, people measuring others against their own insecurities. This understanding grants the Sigma unprecedented freedom. He dresses for comfort rather than trends, speaks his mind without sugarcoating, and pursues unconventional paths without apology. While others waste years crafting careful personas, the Sigma understands that authenticity is the ultimate power move. His indifference to judgment isn't rebellion, it's the natural consequence of recognizing social approval as hollow currency. The Sigma's liberation stems from seeing through humanity's shared delusions. He recognizes that beneath surface differences, everyone struggles with similar fundamental fears and desires. This insight allows him to navigate social situations with detached amusement rather than anxiety. Where others perceive rejection, he sees efficient filtering: those who disapprove of him simply self-select out of his life, saving him the trouble of removing them later. This emancipation manifests in tangible ways. The Sigma wears what he pleases, understanding that most fashion rules exist to sell clothes. Speaks directly, unconcerned with political correctness that obscures truth. Pursues unconventional life paths, immune to milestone pressure. Measures success internally rather than by social media validation. In a world where most people constantly perform for invisible audiences, the Sigma's authenticity becomes his superpower. He understands that the chains of social expectation were never locked, people simply forgot they could stop pretending to enjoy wearing them. His life stands as living proof that true freedom begins when we stop caring about opinions that don't pay our bills or share our beds. The Sigma male doesn't just reject social judgment, he renders it irrelevant through the sheer force of his self-possession. In doing so, he achieves what most never will: the ability to live entirely on his own terms. Conclusion: the Sigma imperative. Sigma males represent evolution in action, men who've developed psychological adaptations to thrive in an increasingly artificial world. Their rejection of social norms isn't contrarianism, but the inevitable result of seeing through systems that keep most people distracted and docile. While others chase validation through possessions, social media likes, or tribal affiliations, the Sigma male builds something far more valuable, a self-contained identity that needs no external confirmation. This isn't a personality type one adopts, it's a hard-won state of being forged through disillusionment and self-examination. The Sigma's greatest strength isn't his independence, but his clarity, the ability to distinguish between what society says should matter and what actually does. In an age of manufactured crises and synthetic values, his uncompromising authenticity makes him not just unusual, but dangerous to systems that rely on conformity. The Sigma male doesn't just live differently, he lives deliberately. Every refusal to participate in social rituals is a reclamation of energy. Every moment not spent worrying about judgment is reinvested in self-mastery. His life becomes a silent protest against the empty pageantry of modern existence, proving through action that freedom isn't found in rebellion, but in selective engagement on one's own terms. This is the Sigma male's ultimate revelation: the chains holding most men back were never locked in the first place. They simply needed the courage to stop pretending they enjoyed wearing them.